Welcome, baseball fans, to Across the Diamond, your new go-to pod, hopefully for all things baseball. I'm one of two of your co-hosts, Ryan McKinney. I'm a lifelong baseball fan, lifelong Texas Rangers fan. Although my love for baseball surpasses my love for any team. So I'm gonna kick it over to my co-host, Andrew.
All right, I'm the second part of the co-host for Across the Diamond Baseball Podcast. I am a lifelong Yankee fan, always, forever and always. And although I'll try to have my baseball love surpass my Yankee passion, I make no promises. LOL. Just kidding. I'll go ahead and try to keep this non-bias at all throughout this entire podcast. And just a little in-depth about what Across the Diamond and what we're trying to accomplish here. Across the Diamond is where we give you deep dives on game reviews, debates, current news on players, teams, etc. And we'll also try to throw in a little bit of bold predictions while also trying to forecast realistic trade predictions and free agency. Meaning, um, say we're in the free agent right now, we're gonna go ahead and try to go over the teams and see what player fits on which team the best, and that's the type of predictions that we're gonna try to go ahead and go over. And as well, eventually,
Maybe
hopefully,
some
player
player
interviews
interviews.
for sure,
Yeah,
100%. That's at least the number one
absolutely.
goal here for sure.
Meet some guys, get some in-depth views on their life.
Absolutely. So this is gonna be our first episode. What we're gonna go over here today is gonna we're gonna be going over each division's off-season transactions so far, starting off with the AL East.
All right, so I think we'll just go in order of divisional finish, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, meaning the Yankees would ultimately be first coming in last year. Um, the Yankees finished first in the AL East. They obviously made a deep run in the playoffs, beat the
Absolutely.
Royals in the divisional round, beat the Guardians in the championship round, and then ultimately did lose to the Dodgers in the World Series. But it was a pretty successful season for the Yankees. How would you call it? You're the Yankee fan here.
So we finished 82 and 61, which is obviously the best.
92, 92.
92 and 61. Microsoft Bing, come on, brother. Anyways, 92 and 61. I apologize for that. Yankee fan over here too. Anyways, 92 and 61, first in the AL East. I mean, if you just go down the regular season, obviously Judge, he won MVP that year, and then
One of the
Soto,
greatest players
of
we've ever
course.
seen, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, we can argue that that 2024 season was better than that 2022 season where he dropped 62 home runs.
I think he put up more F4 this past season too, right?
I believe he put what? Let's see, over 10 for sure.
I
Let's
I
see.
think I know he had like an 11
Yeah,
WAR
yeah,
season.
an
Yeah,
11.2 F4.
yeah.
11.2 F4. I'm here on Fangraphs now. Let's see what his F4 was in 2022. He had an 11.1. So
Wow. So pretty much
point
the
one,
same.
point
Yeah.
one better. That's in terms of F4, obviously, which
I mean,
I try to favor over B War. That's just
I
me.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
So I mean, obviously you had Judge there. I mean, he started off a little bit slow in the beginning of the season, that late March, early or late April, early May, and he really turned it up kind of like when the weather got a little bit hotter, on that road trip over there. I remember watching him. Obviously, me and you went to go see over there, and Judge was there as well. He was obviously didn't go yard that one game that we went to, which is the only
Of
reason why he wanted
course.
to go.
Of
But
course.
yeah, Aaron Judge, we can touch base on that. Aaron Judge had an amazing year for sure. I mean, Soto obviously had a great year. Got him paid. Got him absolutely paid 800 million.
Oh
We'll go
my
over that
God.
a little later, but yeah.
I
Um,
mean, and you guys did this without Garrett Cole for most of the season
oh, for
too.
sure. Yeah, Garrett Cole
So,
was obviously out for the entire first half of the year. I mean, Luis Gil obviously won Rookie of the Year this past year as well. He definitely
yeah,
carried us in that
really
first half.
stepped up in the first half.
Uh,
Really did.
Slow second, but great first half.
Yeah.
That was the game we went to too. We saw Luis Gil, I think, go
Oh,
for
yes.
7 innings, one run
One earned
baseball.
run.
Yeah,
Yep.
one earned, which is, I mean, that's ace
And
quality
we
right
were
there.
sitting behind home plate. His stuff is
Incredible,
it's special, man. It's loud.
incredible. I mean, I mean, off during the trade deadline, we picked up Jazz Chisholm. Seemed obviously we had those holes around the first base and third base, so Jazz Chisholm was able to slide over there in third base as a center fielder, which is pretty surprising to see how well he can hold it down over there
Yeah.
at third base, transitioning from obviously shortstop to center field, and now over there in the Bronx playing third base, which was a great addition for us. We basically gave up honestly nothing if you can go over there and look at that trade to having the year and a half of baseball because obviously he's still in the Yankees now on his
I mean,
free
you're gonna
agent
get him
year.
for he's got what is this his last year of control
Yeah,
or okay. So
last year of control.
Yeah, and I think he's going to play well in New York. He's definitely a bright light kind of guy, so it's only going to
Let's
help him.
let's see. We acquired Jazz Chisholm in exchange with the Marlins for three prospects: Augustine Ramirez, infielder Jared Serna, and utility player Abraham Ramirez. So I mean, that's basically as free as it can get. You know what I mean?
Augustine was definitely the headliner of that
For sure,
package.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, backup catcher. Obviously, we had Jose Trevino, which we'll get to in a second. Wish him nothing but the best over there in Cincinnati. But obviously, Austin Wells is our future catcher. So giving up someone a player like Augustine Ramirez obviously shows you how much belief we have in Austin Wells going forward.
Well, I mean, let's make a slick transition. Talking about Jose Trevino, let's go over some of these Yankee offseason moves. I got a list of them here. Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so they acquired Max Fried, 8 years, 218 million, biggest contract for a left-hander in MLB history. So congrats to Max Fried for that.
Absolutely.
Signed Paul Goldschmidt for a 1 year, $12.5 million deal. Traded for Cody Bellinger. They gave up Cody Petit, a pitcher that, a lot of people are saying that the Yankees fleeced. We'll see how Cody Petit does out there in Chicago, but
I mean, just to touch base on that Bellinger trade, obviously we got Cody Petit, based off of 2024. I mean, he was a solid bullpen arm. You know what I mean? He filled
yeah,
up a couple of innings.
he fills a role for Chicago, definitely.
Absolutely.
More than he was going to for the Yankees.
For sure.
And
I
then
mean,
I think the best move that you guys have made this offseason is trading for Devin Williams.
Devin, what can be said about Devin Williams? You know what I mean?
He's the top three closer in baseball,
I mean,
unanimously, and
absolutely.
arguably number one.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, whatever way you put it, you know what I mean, between Clase, Felix Bautista, and the likes of Devin Williams. I mean, you can put those in any order of one,
Kirby
two, three.
Yates too. Kirby
I mean,
Yates.
there goes your Rangers. Kirby Yates, great year there, but maybe let's see if he replicates this, and maybe he can be in
Yeah,
top
yeah.
three conversations. You know what I mean?
You
But
guys did give up a decent package
yeah,
for Devin Williams, though. Nestor Cortez is obviously, I mean, you guys gave up from bulk, though. You guys got a lot of starting pitchers over there in New York. Still gave up Nestor, and now you guys are also shopping Marcus Stroman. Just shows the depth you guys have over there in the starting rotation. And then Kobe Durbin. Cody Durbin? Kobe?
Caleb Durbin.
Caleb Durbin.
So a little
Okay.
bit about Caleb Durbin, little guy over there, about 5'6", about 180 over there playing second base. I think going into this offseason, he did played very well in that Arizona Fall League. If he can pull up his stat line pretty well, I'm pretty sure he OPS near 1,000 in that
In the league.
in that Arizona Fall League. So I mean, there was a lot of talk between on the Yankees Twitter and just around Twitter in
Excitement.
general. Exactly. Caleb Durbin's the future. You know what I mean? As Gleyber Torres was a free agent, going in at the end of the 2024 season, 2025 off season. So he was a free agent, and it looks like he was going to be our everyday starting second baseman over there for New York and Caleb Durbin. So I feel like it was a real good like being able to talk to him in the media. Because honestly, looking at his stat line, I mean, you just look at his overall size. You know what I mean? I just don't think he's gonna I just don't think he has enough power over there. I mean, obviously he's a little bat to ball skill guy, but I mean, I really didn't think he was anything worth of trading someone for like Devin Williams. Just along with just talking about Caleb Durbin as a player in general. I mean,
Right.
I really think the media really
Hyped him
helped
up.
his for sure
I mean,
helped his trade value 100%.
from what I've seen to him, he's a great utility guy. He's going to be able to play a lot of positions over there in Milwaukee. We know they love that. Bat to ball, Milwaukee loves those guys. Bryce Terang, Jackson Chourio, even when he was drafted, was a bat to ball guy. He's obviously tapped into pop as his body has grown,
Absolutely.
or not drafted, signed. He's
International free agent though for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
IFA guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I'm sure he could develop into a 3-win player probably is a ceiling that I'm looking at. Good defense, speedy, maybe bat 290 to 300, OPS near 7 to 750. So it's a good pickup from Milwaukee, and it was a good package you guys gave up. I think it was a great deal for both teams.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we haven't really touched base on Nestor Cortez. I mean, Nestor Cortez is, that everyday lefty starter that's going to go every 5 days. You know what I mean? Maybe he's not a top end of the arm, 1, 2, but I feel like on a lot of competitive teams, he's your 3, 4, maybe even 5 if you really have the depth that some of these teams have nowadays in Major League Baseball. But I mean, Nestor, he's not going to overpower you. He's just going to, hit his spots left, right, up, down, paint those corners. And obviously, there's a little bit of arm issues, arm trouble. He wasn't really on any of those postseason rosters until the World
Tell
Series, where
Freddie
he made
Freeman.
that first appearance. You
We
know,
talked about that live, and I talked about how it was going to be an instant mistake, but
absolutely. But
Nestor, we talked about it. If he has a good season and pitches, let's say 150 innings, he
yeah,
might
yeah,
be a nine-figure pitcher.
no, for sure. I mean, let's see how old he is, right? Let's
I
see,
think
and
he's not
I
that
think
old.
he's maybe in his 30s, early 30s, late 20s. Yeah, he's 30 on the dot, just turned 30
Yeah.
December 10th.
So
So
he,
he's gonna be 30 years old pitching over there in Milwaukee.
I
Obviously,
mean,
it's a
he
little bit of a hitter-friendly ballpark over there. The ball flies definitely, but I mean, I don't know how different it is compared to the Bronx, but I
absolutely
mean, obviously there's a pitching factory over there in Milwaukee, at least in recent memories, you know what I mean?
that
Obviously he's
bullpen.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So I'm happy to see when Nestor goes over there, and I just want to thank him for his service. No hard feelings. I hope he has no hard feelings towards us Yankee fans either. But
And
Devin
then,
Williams, man, Devin Williams,
yeah,
you know,
last
he,
move. Your favorite Yankee now on the roster, re-signing
yes,
Jonathan Loáisiga.
absolutely. I mean, what can be said about Jonathan Loáisiga? I
He's
mean,
solid.
if you're around the baseball community, you see Alex Bregman taking that little interview in when he was asked, who is the nastiest pitcher that you've ever faced? You know what I mean? He goes over the likes of Garrett Cole, Yankee as well, and then he goes over and says Jonathan Loáisiga. You know what I mean? So, obviously, power sinker, 98, 99, nice slurve. Missed all of last year. Well, not all of last year. I think he pitched like maybe 2 or 3 innings in the beginning of the year until he went out and got a Tommy John. So I think, with the exit of those our bullpen arms of Clay Holmes and Tommy Kahnle, being able to have Loáisiga there for a whole year, I think he can be a nice seventh or eighth inning guy to set up go over there for Devin Williams to hand the ball off to him.
And then let's talk about your guys' losses. Obviously, the big one, Juan Soto, going over there to the Mets.
Yeah, man.
Clay Holmes also going over to the Mets. 3 year as a starting pitcher now, apparently. I
Yeah.
think he could actually succeed in that role. We'll see. Tommy Kahnle is still unsigned, so he may come back. I haven't seen any reports about him coming back, but
Nah, I
he's
don't
going to be
think
a
so either.
loss for now.
For sure.
And then you guys non-tender JT Burbaker and
No, we didn't
John Birdie.
non-tender Buda Baker. He's still going to be over there in our bullpen. The only people we've
Oh,
non-tendered
okay.
so far is Tim Mayza and John Birdie. I mean,
Okay,
super
John
utility
Birdie,
man in
Tim
John
Mizer.
Birdie. I mean, that came out as a surprise for me. I think John Birdie's a valuable asset to any Major League Baseball club, but I think he's very injury riddled, so we'll see where he ends up. But as of right now, um, nah, it's just going to be Tim Mayza and John Birdie.
All right, well, let's start going over to these deals. I think we were supposed to grade these. What grade would you give the Yankees right now to start off? I know the offseason isn't over, but so far, what would you give?
I mean, so far, I mean, obviously a lot of these moves didn't happen until after Soto had decided to go to the other side of New York and Queens over there with the Mets. So, I mean, when you lose a player of caliber like a Juan Soto who's damn near irreplaceable, and you kind of go out here and you sign the second best free agent pitcher over here in Max Fried on an 8 year deal, and then you go over there and get a veteran presence in Paul Goldschmidt to go over there and play first base and provide a couple leaderships in that ball club and then you get Cody Bellinger. You know what I mean? What could be said about Cody Bellinger?
Buy low,
Obviously, yeah,
too.
if
Buy
exactly
low.
buy low on Cody Bellinger, and then you go ahead and trade for damn near the best bullpen arm, best closer in the game in Devin Williams. So I mean, losing Soto and you go here and add those types of calibers of players. I mean, it's hard not to rate them an A right now. You know what I mean? Obviously, you can go ahead and make a couple different moves and maybe be the winner of this offseason. But as of right now, I love this pivot.
All
Um,
right. Well, I also forgot a move. I'm sorry.
okay.
Jose Trevino, you guys traded him for Fernando Cruz and Alex Jackson from the Reds. Fernando Cruz is that relief pitcher that as
Brilliant
soon as
splitter.
he got traded, Yankees Twitter was all over how nasty his splitter
Absolutely.
was.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look up at his Savant, it's up there with the damn near the best closers over there in the game.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And
It's damn near all red.
Matt Blake can do something to him.
What can be said about Matt Blake? He's definitely a wizard. We got him over there from the Guardians, formerly known as the Indians, and obviously he turned a lot of those guys into a pitching factory over there with the likes of Corey Kluber and stuff like that. And then he comes over here to the Yankees, and it's been day and night, man. So I'm really excited to see what Fernando
What?
Cruz brings to the table and
Yeah.
how Matt Blake's able to work with him. I'm really excited for that for sure.
Wishing well to Jose Trevino,
Oh,
former
for sure, man.
Texas Ranger as well.
Platinum Glove winner as well. You know what I mean?
Platinum Glove winner. Guys got it back there.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go over the big move first. Max Fried. Tell me how you view he's going to slide over there in New York Yankee as a Yankee fan. Oh, also, I'm gonna give my grade. I'm
Okay.
gonna say a B plus right now so
Yeah,
far
that's what I was in the
because
air on too. Yeah,
there's a lot of bounce back guys coming.
yeah,
Right, Goldschmidt obviously had that good second half, last like 50 games of the season, almost a 900 OPS. He is getting old though, but if he could provide 80% of what Goldschmidt provided, maybe even less, 70% of 2022 Goldschmidt, that is a very, very good pickup for you guys. Cody Bellinger, obviously we said buy low. Maybe he'll run into some more pop over there with a short porch. Um, he's a great defender, so I think it's just a lot of pickups that you guys made to try to replace Soto that are solid, and their floor and ceiling might be um very different, as in it's a low floor, high ceiling for some of these guys, and I'm sure some of them will settle in between the middle as well. But if they all find a way to try and come close to that ceiling, it's going to be a successful 2025 season for you guys.
Sure. I'm also excited about that Paul Goldschmidt signing because I feel like he can bring
Let
go a little bit
leadership, yeah,
leadership in with
something you
what I was
guys
gonna
need,
say is with Ben Rice. You know what I mean? Ben
right?
Rice tried to learn a little bit from Rizzo. Rizzo was a little bit banged up, so really how much can he really prove and show him on the field and stuff like that.
Right.
So having Paul Goldschmidt, obviously a former
MVP,
MVP and in my opinion a first
Hall of
ballot Hall
Famer
of
right
Famer.
now.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
agree.
In my opinion, I think it's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So really excited to see those moves, especially with what first basemen are on the market. I feel like taking a flyer on a 1 year deal on Paul Goldschmidt can't get better than that.
Either him or Carlos Santana, right?
For sure, for sure.
All right, let's go over this Max Fried move.
All right. So the projected rotation for the Yankees so far is obviously you have a GC 45 and Mr. Garrett Cole, and then our number two starter, freshly off the market, 8 years, 218 million, is Max Fried, and then obviously you know a little bit more about Max Fried. I know he was one of your favorite players going into this free agent, and honestly for a while. So what I'll hand the mic off to you. What do you think about Max Fried and what he brings to this ball club?
Max Fried is one of, I almost want to say, underrated pitcher in baseball. The
Yeah,
way everyone, obviously that Braves rotation has my guy, Spencer Strider, in it. And now Chris Sale. When going into this season, everyone was talking about Chris Sale's bounce back and how dominant Spencer Strider can be.
yeah,
It was Max Fried's always at the on the back end of those talks. He's been
yeah.
so good over so long for this Braves team, and I think he could do the same for you guys. I mean, he's one of the best left-handed pitchers in baseball, obviously, given the contract. He's durable. He's been his floor, I think, is what really raises my eyes or eyebrow to him. His floor is very, very high. I mean, I think that his floor is almost a 3.8 ERA and possibly an all-star. Um,
I mean,
I
his
know he
worst
had
year in the league through 100,
2019.
yeah,
It's 2019.
165 innings
But
too.
that was
Good
the
sample
year,
size.
yeah, that was the year.
402. That's not a bad year. You know what I mean?
No,
By any
and he
means.
also and he also had a 3.72 FIP that season. So
Yeah,
obviously, he's doing something right. He's sat along a 3.2 FIP or a 3.3 FIP for his career. I
yeah,
mean, that is elite numbers,
yeah. Amongst the
especially out
best
of
in
a
baseball
lefty.
for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
So I mean, realistically, Garrett Cole's getting old. We saw that last season.
Yeah,
We still saw him dominate in the playoffs. I think that's just who Garrett Cole is. Um, but I think the Yankees should lean on Max Fried in the regular season more than Garrett Cole because they want Garrett Cole to be fresh in the postseason.
oh
That's
for
their
sure.
guy. That's their ace. That's their leader in the pitching rotation. But Max Fried could literally it's going to be two ones at the top of the rotation for the Yankees.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to talk more about Max Fried, I mean, he throws 7 pitches. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He has the four seam.
nasty.
Obviously, he has the demon 12-6, likes of Kershaw 12-6 curveball. He has that little sinker ball as well. Throws a changeup, sweeper, and a slider. And now he introduced a cutter. He doesn't throw very often, only about 4.7% of the time.
I
But
think
I
he
mean,
might use that more this season, actually.
I was gonna say that because Matt Blake gave Carlos Rodon a cutter. He's obviously been working on Garrett
hmm
Cole, giving him his cutter. So I mean,
Nestor really worked at a
yeah,
cutter
his
over
cutter
there.
as well. So I mean, if they can develop a even that pitch, maybe throw 2, 3% more. I mean, he's gonna throw the kitchen sink at you
Yeah.
100%.
And this guy, he's not going to strike out the world, which
No.
a lot of people have question marks on if that's going to play in Yankee Stadium. Well, you know what is going to play? His average exit velo against. This guy gives up the softest contact out of any starting pitcher I've seen. Going back to the wild card game where he struggled against the Padres. I think there was three infield singles in that first inning and then a couple other bloopers that just found a hole. Nothing was hit hard. Nothing. He just gives up soft contact. His fly balls are 85 miles per hour off the bat. His ground balls are 85 miles per hour off the bat. I mean, it's going to be real simple for these fielders in New York to just make outs for him. He's going to trust the defense behind him. And
I mean, you got the likes of Volpe, obviously a great defender
Volpe's
over
a
there at
great
short,
defender.
and then Jazz is a
Jazz
great
looked great
defender.
at
Yeah,
third.
yeah. I mean,
And even if he plays the outfield, athletic as hell, can
yeah,
play anywhere. And then obviously Judge is a good fielder and good defender in right field. So if
yeah.
he
Because Cody
slides there
Bellinger's
in
gonna
right
go ahead and
field,
take over center. Yeah,
Cody Bellinger is a great defender in center.
and then
A
we'll
lot of
see.
good defense behind him.
There was a big conversation on what Jason's defense is going to be. Obviously, Jason Dominguez, he's over there going
Right.
to be playing left, so I mean, he obviously has a little bit to work on. But I mean, he's in the
Let's just say,
96th percentile for ground ball percentage.
yeah.
Having Jazz and Volpe behind you, I mean, that's awesome.
And he doesn't give up barrels either. He
I mean,
just, like
89th
I said,
percentile, 89th percentile barrel percentage.
everything's soft off him. So I think he's gonna pitch well. And like I said, I think you guys need to rely on him more in the regular season than Garrett Cole as
A
much
little
as
bit
that
more
might sound
course, maybe throw a little
crazy.
bit more innings.
Yeah, as much
Yeah,
as that might sound crazy, he's good enough to do that, you know? And I'm really excited to see him in a Yankee jersey. Obviously, I'm a huge Max Fried guy.
yeah, for sure. That's cool, man. That's real cool. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. There's nothing bad I can say about Max Fried in that signing.
We talked a lot about Devin Williams already.
Yeah.
Let's just go over it real quick again. Top three closer in baseball. Elite back there. Pair him with Luke Weaver, who obviously is coming off a great 2024 season.
Yeah, 2024. Yes.
Fernando Cruz, we'll see what he can give you. And then Loaisiga. I think Loaisiga, when he comes back, I know you guys wanted to use him in a multi-inning role this past year, right? Yeah,
Yes.
I think if he settles back in to a one inning reliever, he could be one of the best seventh inning guys in baseball.
Oh, 100%, man. His stuff plays, man. There's just no doubt about it. His stuff is
Yeah.
disgusting. It's gonna play.
So, anything you want to say about Devin?
Nah, man. I
Other
mean,
than he's
obviously,
your
we know
favorite
his.
closer in
Yeah,
baseball?
he's my favorite closer in baseball for sure. I mean, ecstatic when we got him. I mean, he's the airbender for a reason, man. That changeup is second to none. You know what I mean? And we'll go ahead and see what he does. I mean, I have a little bit of question marks on how his play is gonna, you know, replicate over there in the Bronx. I mean, obviously, it's for anyone's player environment to see how you're gonna be able to play over there, but Devin Williams
Regardless, he's going
has,
to
yeah,
strike out
exactly.
14 per nine.
For sure. Devin Williams has given me no reason to ever doubt him, and I think no
Exactly.
matter where he is, he's gonna play. You know what I mean? So let's see
Exactly.
what the Yankees do. I mean, I'm predicting throughout the division. Obviously, you have a really good division over there in the AL East, but I think they replicate what they did last season, and I think they finish in first place as well.
Yep. All right. Well, I agree with that actually. Boston's knocking on the door though. Don't be
Oh, for
afraid of
sure,
them.
for sure.
But let's go over Goldschmidt. What do you think his role is going to be? Because I'm questioning if he is an everyday guy for you guys
I
because
think he's gonna
obviously
platoon, man. He
I
really
think he
wasn't hitting
should.
right-handed pitching this year. I mean, he's
He's
old,
been
man.
good
He's
against
been in the league.
lefties.
Yeah, he's been extremely well against lefties. I mean, he still obviously hits righties fairly okay. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's a new era. It's the 2025 season. It's a new era in baseball where you see a lot of those platoons being positions. Like it's not even who plays first base or who. It's more of who's playing first base today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They look at those types of players and we'll see who's going to start that day. And I think, like I said, providing that leadership with Ben Rice. I mean, Ben Rice. He's powerful. I mean, he's okay defensively, I think, but he's still extremely green. I think you give Goldschmidt a lot of those runs reps every day, but I really feel like you're gonna see a late, maybe about halfway point of the season, the midway break around the All Star break. I think you're gonna go ahead and see Ben Rice playing a lot more as well. He's gonna play his fair amount in the first season as well, but yeah, man, I don't see Paul
I
Goldschmidt
see.
playing every single day. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Goldie maybe 80
Yeah,
to 100 games this
yeah, for
season.
sure, for sure.
Which if you could get Goldie at like I said, 70% of 22 for 80 to 90 games and Ben Rice, destroying right-handers somehow. Not even destroying, just playing well against right-handers.
Yeah,
I think that's a good first base tandem.
for sure.
So let's move on to Cody B. Cody Bellinger. I
I
think
mean,
this guy is the one who provides the most question marks in this
yeah,
offseason.
he's the highest gamble. Obviously, we've seen his floor, which his floor is abysmal. You know what I mean? Right down there with the worst players in the league. I mean, it's so crazy. Cody Bellinger is year to year. You know what I mean? That one year he'll play horrific defense, and then the next year he'll play, damn near Gold Glove, Platinum Glove type level defense over there. So I mean, we'll see how he plays over there in the Bronx. I know he's excited to be a Yankee. Obviously, his dad was a Yankee as well. He's going to be wearing his dad's number. I mean, the short porch may help him, may not. I mean, it's really just wait until that opening day and see what Cody Bellinger brings to the table.
See
I mean,
see which version of him
yeah,
we get.
exactly. Do
Absolutely.
we get MVP or maybe even All-Star level Cody
Do
Bellinger?
we get
Yeah,
22 Bellinger or
yeah,
do we get 23 Bellinger? Just
exactly, man.
or 23 or 24. That's what
Exactly.
I meant to say. Yeah, I mean, there's so many question marks. It's hard to talk about.
Yeah,
Obviously, I think he's gonna. I think what's firm is his defense in the outfield. He's going to be good out there in center field
yeah,
for you guys,
yeah,
which is going to be an upgrade. Because Judge was not very good out there, but it also takes some stress away from Judge on defense.
for sure.
So, um, should we talk about move on to the Red Sox, or you got anything else to add on the Yankees?
Nah, I mean, I like the way our rotation fills out. I mean, we have a little bit of question marks towards the back half of that rotation, but I mean, on paper it looks great. So we'll see what version of Carlos Rodon we get this year, and
I
then
think he's going to be good.
yeah, and then hopefully Luis Gil takes a little bit of a step forward, or maybe even replicates that Rookie of the Year
If
finish,
he
which
puts the
is yeah,
same
that's
season
a
up,
great
that's
four
a
starter,
great four starter.
for
Great.
sure. And then
Or
Clark
third three
Schmidt,
starter.
Clark Schmidt, I mean, he's been taking steps forward every single year. I feel like, I mean, obviously we didn't give a biggest of sample size this year. He was out for a little bit of the year for sure. But I mean, he looked okay in the playoffs. You know what I mean? He's your five starter. You're not
It's a
going to go
tough
out
spot
there
to
and
put
get,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're not going to get over there and get ace quality pitching from your five starter, at least
Right.
9 out of 10 times. So, I mean, if Clark Schmidt can go out there, pitch to about a 4 ERA, you know what I mean? Maybe through 160 innings. I mean, I'll take that out of my five starter any day of the week. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely. That's one of the best five stars in
yeah, for
baseball.
sure, for sure. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I just look forward to this year, and let's go ahead and move over to the Orioles.
All right, Baltimore.
Yeah.
I have the list. You wanna add to their dreaded offseason, I think, so far, just to a
So we got
little
the Baltimore
foreshadowing.
Orioles, man. Baltimore Orioles, who feel like they've had the best farm system for years now. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's
Three
gone.
years at
Yeah,
least.
it's gone a little bit downhill with the what's the word when they go to the majors? Promotion. Obviously,
When
a
they
lot of
promote.
their a lot of their prospects have been promoted to the big leagues, so their farm is kind of going a little bit down. And obviously, you got Jackson Holiday, who's going to be there this year, maybe for a whole 162 game run. Jordan Westburg's back. You still got, your captains. I'd like to see it as is in Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson. And then you still got your little bit of older birds, but they were the baby birds a few years ago. I mean, Ryan Mountcastle and Cedric Mullins and stuff like that. So I mean, they got a good team. I mean, they finished second in the division. Obviously, had a quick exit over there on the wild card this past.
Haven't won a playoff game in two
Yeah,
years, by the way.
yeah, for sure. Obviously, they had that quick little run in the postseason this past year. No, they went to three with the Royals, or did they get swept by the Royals?
I think they got swept. I think
Yeah,
they
I'm pretty sure
lost
they
in
got
two.
swept. They went 0-2. Yeah, but
hmm
they didn't score at all
I
that
think it
game.
was 2-1, 2-1, right?
Yeah, they couldn't hit. Neither team
Yeah.
could. But this is what additions they've made in the 2024 offseason to get ready for 2025. You go out there and sign Tyler O'Neill, 3 years, 50 million. You go out there and get your backup catcher. Maybe he plays a couple of DH games here and there too, and Gary Sanchez for 1 year, 8.5 million. And then you go ahead and sorry if I butcher his name.
Tomoyuki Sugano.
Yeah, yeah, Tomoyuki Sagano on a
There you
one-year
go.
deal, 13 million over there from I believe he's from Japan. Plays
Yeah.
over there in Japan.
MPB.
Yeah. And then you go here and sign a veteran pitcher, man. I've never said anything bad about this guy, bro. I love this guy. Charlie Morton, you know what I mean? Charlie Morton been around forever. Go over there and sign him for a 1 year, $15 million deal. And then you go out there and fill out that bullpen, or was already pretty good on paper, in my opinion. You go out there and get Andrew Kitteridge, a former Tampa Bay Ray, and this past season, St. Louis Cardinal. I mean, good seventh, eighth inning guy, in my opinion, for a 1 year, $10 million deal. And then you take a flyer on Roansy Contreras, you know what I mean? So we'll see what he
Yeah, we'll
brings
see.
to
Romanzi,
that deal. Yeah.
Randy's a guy. He's
Yeah.
definitely a guy.
And then
They
obviously
lost, obviously.
yeah,
Yeah.
the elephant in the room, dude. You lose. Obviously, seems
Two
like your
guys.
best hitter. Well, obviously you
Uh,
got Gunner there,
Gunner,
but
Gunner,
he's definitely
Gunner.
up there. And Anthony Santander, he's a free agent still on the free agent market as of today, on January 12th, 2025. But the big elephant in the room, man. One of the
Corbin
best pitchers
Burns.
in baseball and the best free agent on the market for the pitching side in this offseason in Corbin Burns, man.
Yeah.
So, well, I'll let you take it away. What do you think about the Orioles coming up? Well, what do you think about these
Um,
additions so far?
this off season, if I'm gonna give it a grade, I almost want to give it an F. I'm
Wow.
gonna give it a D. It's been the most underwhelming offseason I think we've had besides maybe the Atlanta Braves, um,
Yeah.
and maybe the Mariners. They've been. uh, Let's take a look at three guys, right? Let's take a
Okay.
look at three guys: Charlie Morton,
Hmm.
Tomoyuki Sugano, and Andrew Kittredge. If we add up their total AAV for this next season, it is 38 million. Corbin Burns signed a 6-year deal. Granted, there was reports, obviously it was on a hometown discount,
Yeah.
but he signed for what, 32 million?
Let's go look at the actual price of his
6 years,
AAV.
210. If we do the quick math, it's what, 21, 33 million a year.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, 33 million a year. So why not why
Allocate
not
those funds to
why
Corbin.
can't we just bring back
Yeah.
Corbin?
Yeah.
He was your guys' best pitcher. If you brought him back and your rotation was now Corbin Burns, Zach Eflin, who's going to be there for a full year, who I know you're not high on,
Nah, I'm
but
not. I don't see
but
anything special
he
about him.
is a good pitcher.
Yeah, for sure. He gets the job done
Grayson
regardless if he
Rodriguez
passes my eye test.
and Dean Kramer, and fill out the five guy with either by the likes of Chase McDermott, uh, Polvich, who I think really showed well, and I think is going to be good, or shit, you could even have brought in Charlie Morton. I mean,
Yeah, I
you
mean, you
could
can
have
still
done
bring in
both.
Charlie Morton. Yeah.
You could have done both. I mean, the rotation was definitely the question mark. The lineup's good, even with the loss of Santander. They have plenty of guys to fill in roles.
It just shows you how confident they are moving in with Colton Cowser to let
Yeah.
Santander walk that way. You know what I mean? I
I
think
mean,
you,
Colin Cowser, yeah,
yeah.
he's gonna be good. They got Kobe Mayo, Jordan Westbrook for a full year, who we talked about. I mean, he's on the verge of being a top 10 third baseman in baseball.
Talk about a breakout. You know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
saw Jordan Westbrook going over there and being a top three, top four, maybe even top five
And then,
player for the Orioles over there this year? Put up a 2.4 B WAR. Obviously, he was hurt a little bit. Let's see
yeah,
how many games he missed. He played 107. You know what I mean? So,
I mean,
I mean,
give him
over
50
the
more games. That's a 4 WAR season, damn
Yeah,
near.
for sure. At least a 3.5, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll take that any day of the week, you know what I mean? Especially from a guy who's not even pre-RB, or he is pre-RB, he's not even in his first year of arbitration yet. I mean, he's 25 years old, so I mean, he's definitely going to be in those conversations this year, and I'm excited to see what Jordan Westbrook brings to the table. I mean, 792 OPS and 129 OPS plus in what feels like his rookie year. I mean, he played 68 games last year, you know what I mean? So he finally
Yeah.
gets a full run out there and
He was
129
good.
OPS plus with a damn near 800 OPS. I mean, I'll take that any day of the week. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But let's move back into tearing down this Orioles
Okay, for sure.
team. You guys get new ownership, right?
Yeah.
And this
Which,
ownership comes out in the previous season and says that they want to spend. They don't
yeah,
want it
they
to
do.
be
I mean, you don't just
um
trade for Corbin Burns for no reason. You know what I mean? I mean, they immediately get this team and they trade for Burns with
yeah,
like
immediately.
immediately. Yeah,
Good move. Mike Elias was showing off his muscles once he got new management.
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
oh, let's go and get Corbin. Let's go and get a guy. We have this huge group of young talent. They're cheap, they're controllable, they're talented. Let's go get a guy. And then we go into this offseason, and I don't even hear rumblings about the Orioles bringing back
No,
Corbin Burns. And from what I've seen from Orioles fans, that it's not ownership, it's Mike Elias. It's like,
interesting.
like he's praised for being a great general manager. But it's almost like he's working with his hands tied behind his back, but he's the one holding him behind his back. It's not the ownership.
Yeah.
Um, their biggest signing is what, Tyler O'Neill, who can't hit a righty?
I mean, what's crazy is how much faith they show in Tyler O'Neill is they go ahead and refix those dimensions over there in Camden Yards to
Well,
fit Tyler O'Neill.
let's fix those dimensions and then bring back Santander
Yeah, 100%.
on
Switch hitters in.
with one more year with 5 million more AAV. Like what? Why not? Like why are we gonna bring in a guy who before this season put up back-to-back season with the OPS under 720? Can't stay healthy, can't hit a righty even this year.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, he did hit 31 homers. I don't want to tear down Tyler O'Neill too much. He's a good player. But
He definitely brings a lot of value to that team. It just I think as if I'm the general manager and Michael Elias in the Baltimore organization, I just think just bring back Santander. I think
Yeah.
it's as simple as you could put it. I mean, if you're willing to sign Tyler O'Neill, who I feel like is more of a gamble than Santander is. I mean, obviously I'm not in those rooms. Maybe Santander is asking for a little bit too much, but I mean, he's been
It
there
seems
his
like
whole
it
career.
considering no one signed him.
But he's been there his whole career, man. If
Yeah.
there's anyone who deserves to be paid, you know what I mean? He went through all the rut with the Orioles during those couple of years where they're damn
The
near 100,
horrible.
100
Yeah.
losses every year, you know? So, I mean, just bring back Santander. That's my opinion.
Sorry about that. Had some technical difficulties. But let's get back into the other moves. We just talked about Tyler O'Neill. Let's get into Gary Sanchez. Um, Obviously, he's going to be a backup catcher for the Orioles. Real good backup catcher, if you ask me, and slide into slots at the DH, possibly. He coming off a decent year actually for the Brewers. He wasn't a bad player for them. He hit 11 homers, drove in 37 runs in 280 plate appearances, did have a 700 OPS, but we'll see if he could bounce back a little bit. And, that's a decent production from a backup catcher. So I think he's going to be solid.
Yeah, I mean
Anything
Gary Sanchez, former Yankee. He's had a couple of decent runs with a couple of different teams. You know what I mean? I mean, he played all right over there in San Diego. He played okay over there in Baltimore. He played, or he was
Milwaukee.
on Milwaukee. Yes, my bad. I apologize on that one. Yeah, he played okay over there in Milwaukee. So I mean,
Horrible on the Mets.
oh, terrible on the Mets, brother, terrible. But I mean, we'll see what type of player you kind of get in Gary Sanchez. I mean, he's definitely not your everyday player. Definitely not,
But they're not
your number
asking him
one
to be.
backstep. No, for sure. I'm just saying, like coming up as a Yankee fan on having Gary Sanchez behind the dish over there, you would think that Gary Sanchez was going to be that guy, that next big catcher, that next big power hitting catcher. But I mean, he's filled into these backup catcher roles and obviously making a decent career, a better career than a lot of these other players can say for sure. He
Yeah,
continues to get jobs, man. You can't hate on that.
yeah, absolutely. And then get into these other moves quickly. I don't know much about Tomoyuki Sugano. I mean, I know his fastball is probably going to get crushed over here. I don't know why the Orioles gave him 13 million. Um, but hopefully he's a decent five starter for them. That's the bright start spot. Hopefully he can provide that kind of value for them. And then Charlie Morton. Um,
Just to touch base a little bit
I'll
on
let you go and
well, just
go
touch
for it.
base a little bit on Sagano. I mean, I pulled up his career stats of all levels between the MPB. He has a career 2.45 ERA. He's pitched over damn near almost 2,000 innings at 1,873, and he has a WHIP at 1.035. He has a homer or hits per nine with 7.6 homers per nine point or zero 0.7. I mean, that's gonna play. I mean, obviously you bring in the little bit of the dimensions over there in Camden Yards, so hopefully he can
The problem
keep the
is
ball.
the problem is he's going to give up a lot of hard contact and he
Sure.
doesn't strike anyone out.
Yeah, strikeouts per nine at 7.7. I mean, you can
Yeah.
get a little bit better for sure. And then yeah, I mean, so we'll see what happens. I mean, let's see how old he is too.
He's up there. I think he's 35.
Yeah, 35
Yeah.
years old. He's gonna be 35 for the entire season unless they make the playoffs because his birthday's in October 11th. So I mean, you get him for a 1 year deal. I mean, I mean,
We
honestly,
we
it's not
already
even
went
a
over.
buy low. I mean, he's
$13 million dollars
13
isn't
million. You
cheap.
know what I mean? It's definitely not cheap for sure.
Yeah.
But we'll see how he plays over there. But the other addition, you bring in a veteran presence like Charlie Morton, who just
Yeah.
seems like he's aging like fine wine over there.
I don't hate this move either.
I mean either. I mean, what kind of role do you see him playing over there in
I
Baltimore?
I think right now he's a five starter. Um,
I mean, that's a
I
good five
really
starter.
think I really think the rotation should be, I guess Grayson is their one, Zach Eflin,
I mean, according to
1,
Fangraphs, it
2.
looks like Zach Eflin's their ace of their ball club with Grayson
Okay, so
Rodriguez signed for their
you
third
got their
string.
rotation pulled up. So Grayson's gonna be 2. Who do they have as their 3?
Let's see. So I checked this list a little while ago. Let's
Uh,
actually get this. This is I was just straight off the dome. But
I mean, Morton's obviously gonna
projected.
slide in. Tomoyuki Sugano is gonna slide in. I really think Cade Povich is gonna find a spot in there. Um,
It looks
oh,
like
Dean Kramer,
yeah,
Dean
Dean
Kramer,
Kramer. So it looks like it's on Fangraphs, he's projected as our three starter with Charlie Morton right
Dean
there. I mean,
Kramer is.
No, Dean
or
Coleman's
Charlie
number
Morton?
four, Charlie Morton, and then
Okay.
Sugano. He's gonna
Yeah.
be their five
If
star.
I'm the Orioles, I put that 13 million.
Just
I
allocate
just
it,
really
man. Allocate it
I'm
somewhere
really
else. Yeah,
frustrated with their offseason.
yeah, man.
But
And it
because
seems like
Kate
they're
Povich
also they're
ceiling is much
prospect
higher.
heavy. They're prospect
Yeah, they
heavy
are.
for sure too, man.
They could
You
have
could
easily went
definitely,
and
yeah.
traded for Devin Williams. They could have easily went and traded for Garrett Crochet,
Or
who
even
we're going to
Jeffrey
talk
Springs. I
about.
mean,
Yeah,
it's a little
Jeffrey.
bit
Oh my God.
interdivisional, but I mean, you
They
can go
they
over
would
there
have
and
had to
trade.
give up maybe a little bit more, but I don't
Yeah.
think the Rays would have had a problem with it. I mean, they,
Or if you want to take a cheaper option, I mean, Luis Severino was there. Obviously,
yo, yeah,
he's over there in Oakland now, but I mean, Luis Severino was there.
yeah,
He put
absolutely.
up an amazing,
And
amazing
he's familiar with the
season over
AL
there.
East.
Exactly. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess it's a
It's-
conversation for another day if you want to go
yeah,
pit against their management, but their projected rotation now is Eflin as your one. I mean, I wouldn't want Eflin as my one, but I mean,
I
whatever.
I think the thing is they're hoping Grayson takes
A step forward.
not a step forward, a leap. They
Yeah.
need him to be an ace. They need him to be a top 15 pitcher in baseball.
I mean, Grayson Rodriguez is only 25. You
He
know,
could
he's
definitely,
still
I'm not
young.
saying he can't do it.
Yeah.
He's definitely capable, but
It's
that's what they
just
need him to
you
do.
want to do it immediately. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a sophomore year. I mean, he put up a great rookie year, a great, a little bit of a good sophomore season too. I mean, Grayson Rodriguez gets the job done. He
Yeah.
definitely gets the job done. But
This is no hate to
to not
Grayson.
take a flyer on Corbin Burns and try to bring him back and doing everything possibly to bring him back, I just think it benefits
I
Grayson
mean, is that the
Rodriguez.
best pitcher in the Orioles' recent history? Corbin Burns this past season?
I would
He's
say
the
so. I mean,
best
let's
pitcher
think
in the
about it.
past at least 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it right now in the IL too, brother. I mean, sure, if you take, maybe, I don't understand why this is a gap year for them. If this is how they're planning it, you know what I mean? You
I don't think, I
only
think
have
they
a few more years left of these guys. You can't
before,
extend them. You know what I mean?
and it's not
It's too
like
late.
these guys are going to be cheap in arbitration. They're going to be
Yeah,
expensive arbitration
exactly.
contracts.
So I mean, I would want to win now with
Yeah.
with that lineup and the depth they have over there in Baltimore, where it's like huge blow. I mean, John Means goes down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Kyle
tough.
Bradish goes down.
That's also
And
tough
it's just,
because
I get it. I mean, you have that starting pitching depth, but they're not available this year, man. So what are you gonna do?
I'm talking about this team differently, actually, if Kyle Bradish and John Means are
Yeah, for
available.
sure. I mean, even
But
Taylor Wells, I mean, he went down too. I mean,
yeah,
he can bring a valuable asset as a 4 or 5 starter. I mean, he's gonna go out there and throw the ball.
right.
But I mean, you also have one of those the Suarez brothers over there, Robert Suarez and Albert Suarez over here, who filled in a lot of innings and a lot of spot starts for the Orioles this past year. So I mean, you have Albert Suarez as your long reliever right now in your bullpen on Fangraphs. At least that's what he's projected to be. If one of these guys goes down, I mean, that's your next guy
Who do
up.
you turn to?
It's
Yeah.
Albert Suarez.
Chase McDermott, maybe,
Yeah,
who I wouldn't fully trust right now in a
not me
big league
neither.
role because he struggles to throw strikes. Stuff is nasty. I think they should slide him into the bullpen, at least by June. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to be harsh, but I wouldn't trust him to be my five starter right now. Um, but with that being said, what do you give their off season so far? I gave it a D, and I almost want to give it an F, but
Honestly, I mean, I'm right up there with you. If not an F, definitely like a D minus around that range. I mean,
yeah.
I just don't see what they've done to get better.
I mean,
So
I guess the intriguing move is Tyler O'Neill because if he comes out and puts up an 880 OPS, um, he could be he could be better than Santander. I think his ceiling is higher than
let me break this off
Santander's.
real quick. We'll be back right now. Let me just let my dog outside.
All right. Um, while he's doing that, I'm gonna go over. We're gonna transition into the Red Sox, who have had one of the most interesting off seasons in baseball this year.
All right, sorry about that. Brief
Yeah,
moment.
I just told him we're moving on to the Red Sox, who have had an interesting offseason. One of the best, I think, too. Um,
But just to
you
touch
want to,
base on that Orioles team just one more time,
yeah,
I
hey,
just don't see how they've gotten better. I just feel like honestly they've gotten worse. I mean, Corbin Burns is such a blow to that rotation where
and a
it's just
division who's
like,
gotten better too.
yeah, the division's gotten better. I mean, damn near every single team in that division's gotten better. I mean, except for the Blue Jays maybe,
Blue
but
Jays
we'll get
suck,
them.
but whatever.
We'll get them to a second. I mean, they were never going to be contenders to begin with. But yeah, man, yeah, but around that D minus range for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
you definitely have Charlie Morton. I mean, what is he going to give you? I mean, he's going to throw innings for you. You know what I mean? That's about it.
hopefully
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
41.
and even the signing with Andrew Kittredge, I think that bullpen is
10
like
million?
the least of your worries. Yeah, $10
Yeah,
million, man. And you give Chris Martin as a Rangers fan about
two and a
half of
half.
that. Yeah, for 2 years. Not
Yeah,
even for 2 years. Come on, man. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, hopefully the Orioles turn it around. The offseason's not done yet, but as of right now, man,
Go
your
trade for
lineup better
Robert.
mash. Your
Go trade for
lineup has
Robert if
to
this is how you're
mash.
gonna do it. Yeah,
Yeah, man, your lineup has to put 4, 5, 6 runs a game because that rotation's it's giving up runs, brother.
yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna give up runs. So, best of luck to the Orioles, but let's move on to the
I'm rooting
Yankees'
for
big
my guy Gunner.
rivals and projected the number 2 team in the division going up to this year is the Boston Red Sox.
Yep.
So the
Um,
additions they've
Go for
made
it.
so far, you bring Walker Buehler, fresh World Series champ, closer of
Closer.
that game.
What a
Go
last pitch to throw, huh?
yeah, exactly, brother. Over there in the Dodgers uniform, finishing up his tenure. Hits the market, man, and gets a 1 year, $21.5 million, which
Pretty
21
much
and
the
a half,
QO.
yeah, qualifying offer for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, 21.5 million. I mean, I don't know if I would be willing to play that, but I mean, this is a high ceiling guy over there with Walker Buehler.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you bring him into that rotation. You bring Aroldis Chapman to have, I don't know what role he's going to play. It doesn't seem like he's closing games anymore in this part of his career, but he's definitely going to go over there and at least be a setup man over there for Boston.
Something, something.
Yeah,
It's a good
he's going
pickup
to throw
for a
some
struggling
innings.
bullpen.
I mean, looking at this list, I mean, the Red Sox gave Chapman 1 year, 10 million, and then you look at the Orioles, who we just touched based on, and they got 1 year, 10 million out of Andrew Kitteridge. So, I mean, I guess that's the price you have to pay for a bullpen arm nowadays. But they bring Aroldis Chapman to that bullpen, and then you take a flyer on Patrick Sandoval, who's going to be
Who's going to
hurt
be
for the
out for
majority of.
most of the year.
Yeah, but I mean, he
But
only
I
played that.
love this signing.
Yeah,
Love it.
for sure. Patrick Sandoval for 2 years, 18.5 million. You go out there and sign another lefty for that bullpen in Justin Wilson. You know what I mean? We'll see what he brings to the table. I mean,
Yeah. The
there's
bullpen
not a lot of
arms, question marks
yeah. I mean,
everywhere.
exactly, brother. So I mean, but you pay only 2.25 for the kid. So we'll see what types of value if he brings any. I mean, that's gonna be a great signing for them. But here's the big one, man.
A
Here's
huge
the
one.
big one. I mean, you trade a lot of your top prospects. Two of them very, very, very high prospects on the MLB prospect list and just in
One that
general
I
in
love.
baseball. You give up the recent draft pick in this past draft and Braden Montgomery, their first round draft pick.
Stud.
Yep.
Stud.
And then you give up your catching prospect in Kyle Teal.
Out of
And then
Virginia.
you give up two guys in Chase Murdoff.
I don't know.
Murdoff. I
Meadroth?
appreciate
Meodroth?
Sorry about that, Chase. I'm sure you're a good player. I didn't mean to butcher your name. And then Wilkman and Gonzalez for the big guy. I mean, full of question marks in my opinion for Garrett Crochet, man. So
Yeah, yeah, I know
we'll
you're
touch
not big
base.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you're not big on Garrett Crochet,
yeah,
but we'll continue and
yeah.
then
We'll
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 get
touch
into it.
base on how we feel about that trade. But
By the
the
way,
last
Chase
remaining,
Meardroth in AAA this year put up an 838 OPS this season in 122 games and hit 7 homers. Looks like he's a big on base guy. Like, look at this, 293 batting average, 440 on base percentage.
you're walking with the best of them right there, brother. You're walking with the best of them.
So good
You
luck
know
to
me, I
him.
love me some base on balls, brother. I
Yeah, you
love
do.
me some base on the
Good
balls.
luck to him. Just wanted to shine some light since we butchered his name. 23 too, and a California guy. We love those guys.
Sorry, audience. Let me let my dog back in. It looks like he finished using the restroom. I'll let you touch base and go over the remaining of these moves.
All right. And then they also signed, or I'm sorry, traded for Carlos Narvaez, backup catcher, um, out there for Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. And then they lost Chris Martin. They lost Kenley Jansen, and then they lost Brennan Bernardino and John Winkowski. They also lost Danny Jansen, who signed to a division rival. So let's get into these moves. I think we start with Walker Buehler.
I mean, we can start with Walker Buehler. So you bring in Walker Buehler on a 1 year deal. I mean, he hasn't pitched, man. It's as simple as that. And when he has pitched, even in the playoffs, I mean, he got a little bit blown up. But I mean, you get a guy sometimes who can go out there and you look like
Coming
you're
off
getting.
two big injury
No, for
seasons
sure, for
too.
sure, 100%. I mean, no hate to him. I mean, I'm glad he's back in the big leagues, and I hope he's able to turn it around. But as of right now, the only thing I can say on is I don't know what version of Walker Buehler you're getting, man.
We don't. Oh,
There's nothing that shows me that he's gonna go back to his vintage days where he's gonna be a Cy Young candidate. Just as of right now, I mean, like you said, two major surgeries, two Tommy Johns. But obviously he's done a little bit of mechanical things. You saw him in the playoffs. He stopped using his windup. He's only pitching from the stretch now. It's
yeah.
just a matter of are you paying $21.5 million? Is that for 100 innings? Is that for 150 innings? Like I don't know how many innings you're gonna get out of him. So we'll see. I mean, at the very least, he's like I said, a high ceiling guy. So if he's out there and being able to pitch to a 3.2 ERA as your 2 or 3, I mean, we're gonna look back at the signing and we're gonna be like, this is the year and reason why Walker Buehler signed a 6-figure contract the following year. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, going back to his
Yeah,
prime, obviously, he's 3 years removed from a 200 and seven inning um
workhorse.
performance with a 3.16 FIP and an ERA. I believe it was in like 3.5 and or no, I'm sorry, 2.5 in 2021. That was obviously his best season. So if we could get somewhere in between 2019 to 2020 Walker Buehler where he's sitting like 3.3, the Red Sox are in a really good place now.
I mean,
Um,
even looking at his OPS or his ERA plus in that 2021 year, I mean, 171. I mean, you're talking big boy numbers here, and
yeah.
207 innings. I mean, unheard of nowadays. You know,
He didn't miss a
most
start.
yeah, most
33 of
starters
them.
are going 170, 180, and that's it's top amongst the top of the league right there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Seth Lugo, I think, was our only 200 inning guy this year.
exactly, man, exactly. I mean, high strikeout guy. To do that was 207 innings. I mean,
Nasty
212
cutter.
strikeouts per nine. I mean, on his career, I mean, he's a 9.5 strikeout per nine
All
type of
right.
guy. His
There's a
whip's
lot to
always been
dream on.
his whip's always been pretty solid over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like he walks a lot of guys. Or at least for the majority of that 2021 year. I mean, 52 walks through 207 innings. I'll
Yeah.
take that any day of the
Solid.
week, brother. You know what I mean? So the big question marks over there are Walker Bueller. I mean, he's fresh off that ring. Hopefully, he rides that momentum going into a new ball club. What seems like as soon as you leave the Dodgers, you go to the Red Sox. So we'll see what happens over there. And I look forward to watching him pitch. I'm going to see a lot of him this year for sure.
Yeah. We'll move to Aroldis Chapman. Like we said, we're not too sure what his role is. But what I do know is he's coming off what back-to-back good seasons.
Yeah,
Great for the
yeah.
Royals. They net him Cole Reagans. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, man, you got a World Series ring out of it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take that deal 10 out of
And
10
then he
times.
was, I mean, a lot of Rangers fans were shaky about him, but he was solid for us. He had like a 3.80 ERA. And then this past season in Pittsburgh, he had the same deal. So I think if the Red Sox could find a way to etch him in and, sixth, seventh, even eighth inning in some scenarios, he's going to be solid for them, I think.
I mean,
You
I'm
know,
pulling up his savant here, and all I'm seeing is red. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean,
he's
90th
obviously
percentile
Aroldis Chapman.
in expected ERA, 99th percentile of expected batting average. I mean, he still runs it up at an average of 98.7 miles per hour on his fastball. I mean, what can you
Yeah,
say? I mean, Aroldis Chapman still slings it. You know what I mean?
I think his floor is a lot higher than a lot of the relief pitchers that were
I
on the
just think it's a
market
safe
this year.
signing, man. I mean,
Yeah,
regardless of what he gives you, I mean, he's gonna strike out some batters. You know, he might give up
exactly.
a couple big flies here and there. I mean, he throws hard. You know, you throw the barrel on that pitch, it's gonna fly. I mean, that's just with all high velo guys with not a lot of movement. Obviously, he mixes in that demon splitter, splinker, whatever you want to call it, man. But I mean, he still gets the job done. He continues to find jobs, and I don't see him slowing down. I mean, it's a great pickup. You lose Kenley Jansen. It looks like you pivot to Aroldis Chapman, who I mean if you want to slot him in as a closer, I mean, I'd give it a
You
quick run.
can?
I'd give it a
Yeah.
quick run in the beginning of the season, just see how he plays. I mean, he's a Aroldis Chapman. It looks like he's going to be a Hall of Famer, at least in my opinion. I mean, eventually, if he continues to play the way that he's been playing over these past couple of years for a few more, I think he's going to go in there as a Hall of Famer. So we'll see what he does, man. But good pickup for the Red Sox is all I can say.
Absolutely. And then we'll just go over the next two pretty quickly here. Patrick Sandoval is going to be out for most
He's
of
going
the
to be out,
year.
so we'll see
We'll
what
see
he
if he gets into their pitching lab that they've kind of developed here over the past couple of years and figures it out. Obviously didn't figure it out in Anaheim, but who the hell does?
does. Yeah, exactly.
And then Justin Wilson's going to be middle inning reliever. Um, hopefully he can, grow and be good out there. It's a good, solid little lefty pitcher. It's always good to have those guys in the bullpen.
Coming off of a 5.59 ERA season, you know what I mean? I mean, anything's improvement, So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really low risk right there, especially if you're Justin Wilson over there. I mean, just let me just throw strikes across the plate and see what happens, man.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll move on to the big one. Garrett Crochet coming over. Obviously drafted out of freaking
Tennessee,
Tennessee.
yeah,
Absolutely electric college career.
and
Gets up to the big leagues
immediately gets promoted.
immediately.
Yeah, immediately gets
Gives
promoted.
gives you six incredible innings in that 2020 COVID season right after getting drafted. And then the next season comes in as a relief pitcher, absolute stud. 2.82 ERA, 54 innings, and then he gets hurt. And that was a concern in his college career, and that was a concern in his big league career. Um, Before this past season, pretty much 2 years, he gave you 12 innings of work. And then all of a sudden, we get to 2024, find out he's going to be a starting pitcher, and there's question marks across the board everywhere.
Of course,
And he comes in on opening day and gives you what, 6 shutout innings, and it was pretty much riding that way the rest of the year. I mean, finished the season 3.58 ERA, 150 innings. He had a FIP of 2.69, elite level, and struck out 13 per nine and was an all-star. I mean, it was about as good of a season as Garrett Crochet could hope for, I think.
I mean,
Um,
I think you just have to give credit to the White Sox organization, man. They rode the fact that Garrett Crochet was the hottest starting pitching um free agent or a deadline acquisition as a for a starting pitcher over there
they
in
didn't
the
give him up.
20. Yeah, exactly. They held on to him. They literally babied him. He wasn't going 3, 4 innings, the maximum for the majority of the rest of the second half for the Chicago White Sox. And then you go into the offseason and I mean, if you're Chris Getz, you're happy with the package you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
got
100%.
Braden Montgomery and you
You
got
got your
Kyle Teel.
guys.
Yeah, I
Your
mean,
two headliners.
it is what it is. I mean, all you gotta do is bow down to the Chicago White Sox, regardless of how the viewers feel or baseball people who enjoy the game how view Garrett Crochet. I mean, as far as a trade value, I mean, for the White Sox side, it's a great move. For the Red Sox side, I mean, if you're that high on Garrett Crochet, and obviously that system's great, I mean, you don't even know what Montgomery is really going to provide you right now. I mean, he's fresh getting drafted, so you don't know where he fits. And then
I
Kyle
do.
Teel, sure, man. All I'm saying is he's green. He's super
I
green.
love Braden Montgomery, man.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, it's a steal of the draft too. I mean, Brandon
Oh
Montgomery was
yeah, I
supposed to
can't
get
believe he
drafted
fell that much. I
way
can't
before
believe he
that. So
fell. I mean, he was
props.
injured, so he didn't get to play in Omaha, I guess.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
guess.
I
But
mean, Texas
whatever.
A&M guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Came over from Stanford. Stud in Stanford.
looks like that, man. And then you give up Kyle Till, your catcher. I mean, he's a catcher. I mean, what can be said? I mean, maybe he could
High
go out
ceiling
there.
guy.
Yeah,
High
for
ceiling
sure. I
guy.
mean, maybe you can plug him out in the corner outfield
Or not,
position,
not
regardless.
ceiling, floor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, high floor guy for sure. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna stick as a catcher his whole career, but as of right now, he's a catcher. So I mean, you give up those two guys and a couple of prospects. So you touched on Chase. I mean, obviously he walks and he can hit the ball. So we'll see what he brings. And then Wilkman Gonzalez just seems like he was just a cherry on top. Like, well, give me this guy too, and then you can have Garrett Crochet. So we'll see what these guys do over there in Chicago. But as far as Boston, I mean, you get Garrett Crochet obviously he's had a lot of injury concerns and we'll see how what kind of stamina he has on that arm. I mean, he didn't come up as a starter and then halfway through almost your free agent year, you become a starter. And now you're pitching in a big market like Boston in the AL East trying to compete for the division and hopefully World
And they're
Series at the
asking
end
you
of
to
the
be
year.
either one.
Yeah, asking to be their one. I mean, that's a big ask. That's a big ask, especially for what they gave up for him, man. If I'm the Boston, you know what I mean? I'm Alex Cora. I bring him into to uh to my office day one of spring training or whenever the pitchers and catchers meet in February. And I'm like, hey man, we gave up a lot for you. We
You got to
need
be our
a lot
guy.
in return. We
Yeah.
need a lot in return. I mean, I don't know. I don't know Garrett Crochet as a person. I mean, he said I wasn't going to accept a trade without extension talks. So, I mean, that kind of gives you perspective on what kind of guy he is. I mean, he looks like he's good at baseball. I don't know if he's in love with the game. I don't know his work ethic, but if I'm the Red Sox, I'm hoping for the best possible player I can get out of him. I really hope he
Yeah, I
gets
know
another
you're not the
lap.
highest on Crochet.
Yeah, I'm really not. I mean, I look at sample size, man. It's hard for me to really justify giving up these amount of prospects and these high ceiling prospects for a guy who 1 year of starting pitching, man, and who has an injury history. I just don't know how that's going to replicate, and I just don't know if the longevity's there. But I mean, for the Red Sox sake, like I hope, you know what I mean? It makes the division a lot more exciting knowing Garrett Crochet's in there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the Tampa Bay Rays now. They finished the season 80 and 80. Oh, I'm sorry. What would you give your Red Sox, the grade on this Red Sox offseason?
Honestly, I don't like their offseason. I think I give it a C.
Really?
I think you could have got out there and I think you could have signed Corbin Burns. I mean, you're the Red Sox, brother.
I
You
think they're
have
going to get Bregman still.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, if they get Bregman, maybe I'll rate this offseason a little differently, but as of right now, man, I just see it as a passing grade. I mean, I just feel like you have a big question mark of Walker Bueller and you have a big question mark over there with Garrett Crochet. hopefully Jaren Duran goes out there and replicates even half of that, which is still a 5-win player. I think you had those guys on the market who were worth signing. I mean, you still have Pete Alonso out there. Go sign Pete Alonso. Go sign Bregman. Go sign something because I just feel like if you're running out the same thing and your pitching is the only thing that's gotten better, I just feel like if you're the Red Sox, you should be spending a little bit more and not gambling, if that makes sense. I think you should have gone out there and be like, I haven't been competitive for the last couple of years. There's a lot of big free agents out there. Let me just go sign one of them, and we haven't seen that yet. So if the Red Sox
Uh,
go out there and sign somebody, my grade will change.
I understand. I can see your point of view. I disagree though. I'm on the
Okay.
upper end. I almost want to give it an A
Wow.
minus. I think I'm going to give it a B plus. I think it's similar to the Yankees where there's maybe some bounce back. You're hoping for a bounce back for Walker Buehler. Obviously, we won't see Patrick Sandoval this much this year, and he wasn't good in Anaheim. Again, who the hell is? But I really like Patrick Sandoval, and I
Okay.
think they're preying on Garrett Crochet repeating his season that he had this past year. If he gives them 150 innings at a 3.5 ERA, they are extremely happy, I think, and I
I
think
just
they're
don't
in a
think that's
place.
ace quality numbers, man. I just think
I
even
I
if you
I
do get a 3.8
I
ERA,
don't think
which you
they
gave
have
them,
an ace on their team though.
yeah.
They have a one. They don't have an ace. There's a difference. But I think that if that puts them in a position to compete for the division and to compete in the playoffs, especially in a weak AL right now, where the only two other contenders are the Astros, who seemingly got worse, and you guys and the Yankees. I mean, the Central teams are the Central teams. A lot of people are high on the AL Central. Obviously, the Guardians are a good team. I'm not that high on the Royals to continue to dominate, and the Twins are the biggest question mark in baseball. And then the Tigers are the Tigers. We'll see what they do. Love their young talent, but in a weak AL, I think these moves put them in a position to compete and possibly make a run for the World Series.
It's
So,
just I pulled up Fangraphs on the projected rotation. You know what I mean? You got Garrett Crochet as your projected one. You got
right.
Tanner Houck.
I love
Started this
Tanner
past
Houck.
year. He's gonna be number
Yeah.
two. You got Brian Bayo number three. When the hell is he gonna step up? You know what I mean? When is he?
Baby Pedro, man.
Yeah, when is he gonna show those types of flashes where
Gave him that
he's gonna
extension.
be your one and hopefully, I mean,
I
when you
think that's
sign
out the
Brian
window
Bayo for
now.
that extension, I think yeah, exactly.
I think that's
You
out the window.
you
I
wanted
think
him to
they
be
want
your
him to
one,
be a.
but now I mean, even if he could step up and be your two, or he's projected your number three. If you get a
He just has
solid
to be a
three,
solid three,
yeah,
380
solid
RA.
something. I don't know when we're gonna get that out of Brian Bayo. So we'll see. And you got Cutter Crawford as your four. Cutter Crawford. I mean, I just don't know what I see when I look at Cutter Crawford. You know what I mean? He's your
I don't
projected
think anyone
four.
does.
He's your projected four, I mean, good for the Red Sox. You know what I mean? And then you have Walker Buehler as your five. It's just I look at this
Lucas
projected.
Giolito is coming back too.
Yeah, so we'll get Lucas Giolito. Hopefully second half, maybe right before second half starts, and then but this is the projected opening
I
day
think he's going to
rotation.
be ready a little earlier than that. I
But we'll
think he's
see.
going to be ready for May, maybe.
Yeah, we hope so, man. But I
So
just look at this rotation. I don't know what I'm getting. I don't even know how
I
to settle
I
the
think they're
floor
leaving
out of any of these
themselves.
guys. You know what I mean?
I think they're leaving themselves a lot of room to improve at the deadline as well, brother. I
I mean, yeah,
mean,
obviously you
they
have that
still have the elite.
prospects,
Even after
farm system.
trading Kyle Teal and Braden Montgomery, they still have a great system.
Yeah.
And they obviously have the number one guy in baseball in Roman Anthony, who could be up this season and could really elevate their lineup even more.
And I just
Um,
want to highlight that Liam Hendricks is back too, who they
oh
signed
yes,
last year.
good
So
story for him too.
it's gonna be between Liam Hendricks and Aroldis Chapman. It looks like they're gonna be fighting for that closing job. So we'll see what happens, man. But Red Sox, my grade, I'm gonna give them a C. It looks like my co-host Ryan gives them a B plus in that A range. I don't see it personally, but I also see his perspective. So we'll go ahead and move on to the
The
fourth place
Tampa Bay
team,
Rays.
the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean,
Not much to talk about
Rays.
because it's the Tampa Bay Rays, man. I think obviously they added Danny Jansen on that 1-for-1.
Hold on,
And then
before you get ahead of yourself, let's take a quick break, real quick.
okay. All right, it's time to do the Tampa Bay Rays now.
Yep. So we've already went over the Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox, and let's go over. I think the sleeper team of the AL East, brother. I mean, year in, year out, the Tampa Bay Rays or the George
Absolutely.
Steinbrenner Field Rays, brother.
Minor League Stadium, Tampa Bay Rays. There's two major league teams this year playing in minor league stadiums. Who the hell would have thought, man?
Both the American League too, brother. What's happened to the American League?
Yeah. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Well, I mean, not much to go over here with the Tampa Bay Rays, man. I mean, you've added a catcher. It looks like your everyday catcher,
Sure.
Danny Jansen. And the big one, which I think doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I'm not the Rays. I'm not going to question their methods. Obviously, it's worked for them year in, year out. But you trade your left-handed starting pitcher, Jeffrey Springs.
Um, I think to try to how do I put this into perspective? I understand why they traded Jeffrey Springs. He's on the wrong side of 30. Um, you got one of the best lefties in baseball, Shane McCallahan. You got Shane Baz, or I'm not Jeffrey Springs, Taj Bradley, Drew Rasmussen. You got so many guys in their system too. That's so good. They know how to develop pitchers. You have Zach Littell there too as your five starter.
And
Um,
one other move I want to touch base on before we start talking about it. They also agreed to a minor league contract with Eloy Jimenez. I forgot
oh
about
yes,
that.
Eloy. Yep.
And then they extended Drew Rasmussen on a 2-year deal.
Great. Good to see my guy get some money and good on the Rays for doing that.
And then you also traded the Mets for Jose Siri.
Yes.
And I think that's about it. I mean, all these other guys that have agreed to a 1-year contract have already been on the team. But also, we want to highlight those moves. Sorry about that. Should have done a little bit more
Um,
information, but
I
they do
guess we
get
could
Eloy. They do get
they
Eloy.
we could do the Jeffrey Springs return um for who they got back in return for trading Jeffrey Springs. I'll pull that up real quick because I actually didn't write that down. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Jeffrey Springs.
Return.
The Tampa Bay Rays have dealt Jeffrey Springs and
Yes,
left-hander
that's right. Joe
Jacob
Boyle.
Lopez for the Athletics for a high ceiling MLB ready starter Joe Boyle, first base prospect Will Simpson, and pitching prospect Jacob Waters,
Waters. And then they also got
a competitive
competitive
balance
balance round
round
A
A.
pick. So I think that's going to slide into the late 30s draft pick for the race. So I'm sure they'll kill it with that pick too.
Yeah,
So a solid package back for Jeffrey Springs. Joe Boyle is gross, but I think they're going to find a way to make Joe Boyle
even
uh,
grosser. Disgusting
a
now.
good pitcher because he's really struggled in Oakland. I think he's got a career 5.2 ERA. Um, but he was good in the short spurt in 23. I think he pitched almost 15 innings at like a 1.5.
Well, solid, man. Solid.
So
Small
yeah,
sample size, but
it was
big league. These are big
yeah,
league innings, man.
yeah. So we'll see what they do to Joy Boyle. I'm sure in June we'll come on here and be like, "Oh guys, you guys should pick up Joe Boyle off of waivers in your fantasy league because he has a 2.2 ERA and is striking out 13 per nine." But
I would love for the Rays to share some of that pitching secret juice over to the rest of the league, man.
right, them and the Dodgers, man.
But I mean, it's kind of hard to grade this offseason, man. I think the Rays are getting so many different players back and healthy this
Their
year.
offseason is their
Where
returns
it's
from
yeah,
injury.
it's
Yeah,
like, come on, man. I mean, look at their rotation. I mean, their rotation's gross. I mean,
real good.
you have well, actually, let me just touch base off the dome, man. I mean, you got Shane Baz coming back. You have Taj Bradley coming back. Shane McCallahan coming back. I mean, just with those three arms alone, I mean, who even cares about your 4 and 5 when you have
Drew Rasmussen's
arguably?
returning to the rotation too.
I mean, I don't know yet. I haven't really seen
They
reports on
the
that. If you want to
reports
go
are
ahead
that he's
and go
coming
ahead and
back.
confirm that, I mean, I'll go ahead and
Yeah,
say Drew Rasmussen as well. I don't know where he slides in. I mean, sure you can slot him in right behind Shane McCallahan, who's in my opinion your solidified ace.
yeah.
Shane
They have.
McCallahan is a solidified ace in a lot of ball clubs, in my opinion.
I think they have three twos behind Shane McCallahan. I think Shane Baz could be a major league
I
two.
think Taj Bradley. I think you can
I think,
have Taj Bradley in that conversation too,
and
man.
I think Drew Rasmussen could be a certified MLB two. And I,
Yeah,
I think all those guys' ceilings are ones on, let's
and
say, half of the league.
I pulled up the projected 2025 starters. I mean, just listen to this, man. Raw
Oh my
reaction.
God, how did we forget Ryan Pepio?
That's what I was about to tell you. Raw reaction, man. You got Shane McCallahan, Taj Bradley, Ryan Pepio, Zach
Yes.
Littell, Shane Baz, and Drew Rasmussen. I mean,
So
bro, you don't even need to make offseason moves when your starting rotation looks the way that it does. I mean,
and they're
that's
bullpen.
just that's arguably right there with the Yankees. And honestly, some days, I mean, we're on what day you ask me, I honestly prefer that Rays rotation over the likes of the Yankees, man. Even with that Garrett Cole, Max Fried punch, I really think the Rays are gonna make motion, man. I mean, that pitching is so damn good. This is just
You
I'm
could put
really
that
high on the Rays,
rotation.
man.
You could put that
That
rotation against
rotation's gonna
anyone.
ball with exactly. It's gonna ball up there with the Mariners, out there with the Dodgers, man. It's gonna play, man. It just
Absolutely.
it's gonna play. It's as simple as it's as simple as that, man. I mean, even their lineup. I mean, you got Yandy Diaz. Yandy Diaz is gonna go out there. He's gonna hit, the likes of 290. He's gonna run into some power, maybe about 20 home runs.
Hits
And
the ball so damn hard.
he's gonna play decent defense over there at first base. I mean, you know what kind of player Yandy Diaz is. I mean, and any team in Major League Baseball is gonna like a player like Yandy Diaz who can slide over there at second base. I mean, I'm sure you can go over there and teach him how to play a corner outfield, or maybe even slide over there to third base as well. So Yandy Diaz is a great player over there for Tampa. Brandon Lau, he's gonna hit for power, man. I mean,
He's gonna hit five
he's
home runs
gonna
against the Yankees this
yeah,
year at
bro. I mean,
least.
he's gonna go out there. He's gonna boom, bro. Like he's gonna find barrels on those baseballs, bro. He's gonna put them out to the bleachers, man. I mean, what more can you say about Brandon Lau? I mean, he's just a good, solid baseball player who's gonna tap into 25 to 30 home run potential right there, man. I mean, year in, year out.
And
And
then
then
obviously a
Junior
bounce back from
Caminero.
Josh Lau,
Oh yeah, Josh Lau
hopefully.
too. I mean, obviously you're a Ranger fan, man, so you know that Josh and Nathaniel Lau have been dealing with a little bit of off the field
Adversity in their
problems.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit of off the field problems. You know what I mean? I wish nothing but the Lau's mother. Just
The best. Yeah.
health and good vibes, man. As simply as that. So hopefully Josh Lau can return back to that 2023 form with the 2025 season out there on the outfield, which honestly, if I had to bet money, I'm taking the over on a lot of these Josh Lau lines, which I'm assuming are pretty low, man. Josh Lau's a very good baseball player. And so is
That
Danny
man.
Jansen, man. I mean, Danny
Oh yeah.
Jansen has always just been out there. He's a master, man. He hits good. He provides solid offensive production at the catching position. He's always been kind of overshadowed by Alejandro Kirk, which I never liked that decision. I think Danny Jansen's a better player than Alejandro Kirk. But we'll see what kind of run he gets over there in Tampa, which he looks like he's going to be the everyday catcher. And I'm expecting 15 to 20 home runs from Danny Jansen over there. And then the biggest question mark, in my opinion, next to obviously the Junior Caminero, what he's gonna bring is Christopher Morel, man. Another guy like Yandy Diaz just hits the crap out of the ball, man. He just when he makes contact out ball, it's hard off the bat, man. Yeah, really good average exit velocities, but the biggest question mark is he can't play defense worth of nothing, man. I mean, you throw a little leaguer out there, I'm sure he's gonna have the same value of production as Christopher Morel is at any position you put out. And then I heard a sleeper pick. I obviously play fantasy baseball. A sleeper pick this year is Jonathan Aranda.
Aranda, yeah.
Aranda. He can hit baseballs, man. I mean, he's a DH. He can hit baseballs, and definitely look out for that name and Jonathan Aranda. And then you have Johnny DeLuca, who you got from the Tyler Glasnow trade.
It's gonna be good in center field.
Yeah, for sure. You have him and you got Johnny DeLuca and Ryan Pepio for that Tyler Glasnow trade. That's just this last offseason.
Good return, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see what Johnny DeLuca plays. I mean, he's shown flashes of being a really good player, but something in that Rays factory, man, they just turn average players and players who want to play baseball into very productive, 1 to 2 win players. So I think this lineup gets it done, and I really think they don't have to provide much, 2, 3, 4 runs a game. At the very best, and you're looking at an 80 win, at least an 81 team.
I think I saw their win total at 81.5.
Yeah,
and I would take the
I
over.
would take the over. I mean, I would take a lot of the unders a lot in the AL East division. I feel like whoever's going to win this division is going to be the likes of 90, 91, 92 wins. This division is just it's too
competitive.
Blue Jays can go over there and run into a couple wins too, man. I mean,
yeah.
But
Vladdy can hit 3 homers and beat anyone.
Exactly. I mean, hopefully Bo Bichette turns around. I mean, I digress. We'll get into the Blue Jays in a second. But yeah, man, you got John DeLuca, and then rounding out that lineup is Taylor Walls. I mean, he's a glove first shortstop. I mean, what more do you want?
Well, Carson Williams and what's the other guy's name? Third baseman, big white boy.
John Blanks, man.
Let me talk while I find him.
But yeah, I mean, Taylor Wells is a projected starting shortstop as of right now. He's a glove first. Shortstop's a little switch hitter. I mean, hopefully he develops a little bit more bat to ball. He's fast, but hopefully he can go a little bit gap to gap and maybe run into some power playing out there on the Yankees.
Curtis Mead, by the way.
Oh, Curtis Mead. Yes, Curtis Mead. I mean, even him though, man. I mean, they've given him a lot of run, but we'll see if he really blossoms into one of those everyday players. But Curtis Mead's a solid addition, man. I mean, he's definitely a guy that you're willing to take.
I mean, he has 200 at bats in his career.
Yeah,
and he's
if I'm not mistaken, he's a little bit on the older side.
He's 25.
Yeah,
he's
25.
younger than James Outman.
James Outman. But shout out him. But yeah, man. So the only hole that I really see, I mean, obviously it's not gonna mash, man. It's definitely not the best lineup you could possibly put together. But pitching behind this rotation, if I'm the Rays GM, if I'm over there, if I'm Kevin Cash, I'm confident. I'm confident going into that 2025 season. And I really think you're seeing an 80 to an 85 win ball club and maybe even that wild card pick. And if they get
Okay.
hot, bro, if the
They
Rays
can
run
make a run.
hot, yes, they can make a run, brother. And
If I had to, I'm gonna ask you four questions. All right.
okay,
Speaking of Christopher Morel,
okay.
um, we know he was bad in 2024. 2023 obviously was his best season. If you had to guess his percentage in average exit velocity, barrel percentage, and hard hit rate, where would you put those three? Where would you guess in the percentile of MLB he was in those three
I'm thinking above
categories?
the 85 percentile, man. I've seen this guy play. That dude hits baseballs hard. You
Hard
know what I mean? And I think his expected batting average is amongst like one of the unluckiest players in Major League Baseball.
in
Like,
2024.
yes, like Christopher Morel, like, I mean, from the small sample size that I've
No, no,
seen,
no. In 2024, just he was horrible and expected batting at 15th percentile.
okay, I may have read a different
Yeah.
article that maybe enticed my opinion. But yeah, I did read somewhere where Christopher Morel does get kind of unlucky. I know he's pretty fast too. But
Yeah.
I do know that that dude hits the crap out of the ball, man.
91st percentile on
Yeah,
average exit velo in
yeah,
2023, 95th in barrel percentage, and 92nd in hard hit rate.
yeah, dude. Hits the
50% of
crap out of the
his
ball.
50% of his at bats in 2023 ended in a hard hit,
Yeah,
which is 95 mile per hour exit velo or above.
yeah, man.
So that's telling you something.
It's kind of crazy too, man. Because if you look at the dude, like
He's not
nothing really,
big.
yeah, nothing flashes out. I mean, he's a solid baseball player, solid cat. He's not skinny by any means, but for him to mash with the best of them in the league, man, the likes of Jordan and people like that. I mean, motherfucker, he hits the ball. He hits the ball
Yeah,
hard.
he can hit it
Don't
hard.
throw to Christopher Morel. Like,
If he's hot, we've seen
he's
him go on
gonna
runs where he hits 7 homers in a
yeah,
week.
he can go 470, bro, on any given night for sure.
Yeah. So that pretty much rounds out the Rays, I think. I mean, if I were to give it a grade, I guess C because they didn't
It's
really
hard
do
to grade him,
anything.
man.
It's
I
just
don't.
it's
If I'm the
impossible
Rays, I
almost.
don't know what moves you make. I mean, maybe you go out there and sign Anthony Santander. I mean,
They don't
but
have money to do.
I mean, I mean, his AAV is not high. Is what I'm saying.
It's
You know what
gonna
I mean?
be high. It's gonna be too high for
Based
the.
on
I
this
think
market,
he'd
sure.
probably be the highest paid player on the Rays.
I don't know, man. If Corbin was willing to take, obviously, the taxes over there in Arizona are pretty similar to the ones in Florida. I think they can get away with that pitch based off of what Corbin Burns has said. If you go over here
Taxes.
and play in Florida, bro, I'm not going to give you maybe 25 AAV, but I'll shoot you 21, 22, brother, which will equivalent to just as much as 25, So I don't
Across the
know.
diamond, the
I'm
tax
definitely calling
evasion
his I'm definitely
podcast.
calling his agent and be like, hey man, what's the asking price? Because I think
Yeah,
Anthony Santander definitely fits this ball club pretty
I
well.
agree. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see where Santander goes.
Yeah.
Um, I just am excited to see these guys pitch.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
really what I'm
Me
excited
too.
for.
And Richie Palacios, I did want to highlight him.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
fun, exciting
yeah,
player.
Richie Palacios, not a superstar by any means, man. But the kid plays baseball and he loves playing baseball. And he's definitely going to get his fair share of at bats and solid baseball player, man. I'd like him on my team for sure.
All right, I think that rounds out the race. We'll move on to the last place finisher, the Toronto Blue Jays, who are probably going to be the last place finisher again
Again, yeah.
and again and again and again here in the near future. Not a bright future over there in Tampa or at
Nope.
Toronto. I'm sorry.
So recent news, as this is being recorded on January 12th, recent news within the past few days, I'm assuming, if not really extremely recent. Jeff Hoffman on a 3-year deal, $40 million. They
Supposed to start, right?
yes, but allegedly, I mean, that was in the talks of the offseason that a lot of teams have been calling his phone and trying to maybe convert him to an everyday starting pitcher. But we'll see
Which
what
he's
happens,
tried
man.
before in the
Yeah.
bigs, and
He
I
has a
believe
great pitch mix.
the last season he was a starting pitcher was in 2021 on the Reds. Can you guess his ERA? He made 11 starts that season, appeared in 31 games.
He appeared in 31 games, but in 11 starts.
Guess his ERA.
I'm gonna guess in maybe in the mid fours, maybe about 4.6,
5.2.
5.2. Okay.
Yes. He came over to Philly in 2023 and has put up back-to-back good seasons, man.
If Jeff Hoffman's
Um,
pushing maybe 31, 32.
he is 32.
Yeah,
He's going to be
that's what I'm saying.
32 this season.
So
So,
you sign him all the way up until what his 35th year old season. So I mean,
35. Yeah, let's look
yeah,
at
I wouldn't say it's much of a gamble. I mean, regardless, you know what Jeff Hoffman's capable of. If he doesn't make it out there as a starting
Just
pitcher,
put it back in
yeah,
in the
in the
bullpen, I
bullpen. I mean,
guess.
yeah, I
I
think
mean,
he can
it's
go
just
out
an
there and close
expensive
games.
reliever.
I'm sure,
Yeah,
man, but I mean, no one wants to sign with the Blue Jays anyway. So I mean, they want to give money anywhere they can. So if you're the Blue
right.
Jays, I don't even think you care that you
I
overpaid
I
for him.
think the only thing they can do is go out and
Yeah.
hopefully they move in the direction of trying to trade Vladimir Guerrero Jr., trying to trade Bo Bichette because Bo
Well,
Bichette's as good
let's
as
pause
gone.
here, man. If I'm the Blue Jays, brother, I do whatever is possible to at least re-sign one of them. You know, I'm not even thinking about
I've
trading them right
how
now.
many reports have you seen that Bo Bichette's as good as gone?
Well, sure, Boba Shett. I'm talking about Vladdy, brother. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
but
anything you
what
could do to
I think you're
re-sign
gonna have to
Vladdy.
overpay to get him now because you're not gonna be competitive. Who in their system that is coming up that you're hoping Bowden Francis is good? Or not Bowden Francis. I'm sorry. Bowden Francis. He was good. He
Yeah,
was
he is
good,
good.
by the way. He's a
Yeah, he's good.
stud.
Yeah.
The lefty, hard sinker.
I don't know. Lefty hard
You know
sinker.
who I'm talking about.
Lefty hard sinker. I don't know,
Ricky
brother.
Tiedemann. Ricky
Richard
Tiedemann.
Teeter. Well, he's projected to get traded.
Well,
And he's only the 84th best prospect in baseball. So I mean, what do you want from him? You know what I mean? So I don't
I mean,
know.
they're hoping he turns into a stud, right?
Sure,
I
man.
mean,
Ricky Cedarman.
Arelvis
That name's been
Martinez got
floating.
brought up.
That name's been floating around for a while though, man, with Cedarman.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he ever really drops a blossom into a Major League Baseball player. But I mean, you have Alek Manoah. I mean, he's shown flashes of being great.
I
Hopefully
don't
he
know
does
about
something.
that.
But yeah, I just think he doesn't care enough, man. I just don't think he works hard enough. But shout out Alek Manoah. I don't know you. You know, I haven't read much reports on you. But just to the human eye test, it just looks like
I
you're
mean,
just not
back-to-back
trying the
seasons
hardest.
where you're
Yeah.
horrible. I mean,
Yeah, man. It just
after
looks like
finishing top three in Cy Young. Come
I
on.
remember you making your major league debut, brother. It was against the Yankees, man, and you pitched great. You shut us out 6 innings. You know what I mean? And I looked at this guy. And I was like, "Who the hell is this guy with a tattoo?" You know what I mean? Big boy. You know, what I mean? He looks pretty cool. He looks like he'd be my friend. But ever since then, man, it just you can't stay healthy, man. I can't rate you. I can't be like you're such a big addition to the Blue Jays if you're not playing. You
And
know what I
there's
mean?
nothing that I see where
Yeah.
he's getting better
No, I
either.
mean, his
I mean,
slider's good. It just, I feel like he can run it up to like 97, 98, but he looks like he's only sitting 93, 94. So, I mean, he definitely needs to make some tweaks. He can't stay healthy on top of that. So, I don't know, man. I mean, you obviously have Kevin Gosman. Kevin Gosman, I mean, if he's your one almost in that ace conversation, if not an ace for a lot of these ball clubs,
I think
or at
coming
least be
into the
considered
season,
one. But
he was a lot higher.
yeah,
Had a
Kevin
down season.
Gosman's, yeah, he seems like he was banged up a few of his starts this year. If not mistaken, I think he hit the IL maybe once or twice. But yeah, man. I mean, you have Kevin Gosman holding up that full front of that rotation. And you got Bowden Francis, who you just touched on. So
If I'm the Blue Jays,
I
here's
don't
what
know,
I'm
man.
doing.
I don't even know what direction you guys go in. If I'm the GM, I don't even know what to do. You know what I
If I'm the GM, I'm trading everyone. I'm restarting.
mean?
Like
I don't even
truthfully,
know, man.
I'm truthfully sure if I could convince Vlad to stay for his rest of his career and say, "Hey, I'm gonna get you to the promised land in 4 years. By the time you're 30, we're gonna be competitive again," and he's okay with that, then yes, I'll sign to the extension. If not, he's going. Bo Bichette's going. I'm finding a way to move George Springer, even if it's for nothing.
Yeah.
Get that contract off my roster. I'm trading Kevin Gosman, and we're rolling out there with a bunch of freaking young guys who no one knows about, and we're gonna get tank and get some draft picks, and I'm gonna go all out on scouting and try to draft the best team possible or best picks possible, and get back to being competitive in 3 4 years. I
I
mean,
do want to highlight an addition that honestly I don't even know how we missed, but they did trade for Andres Jimenez.
oh yeah, that was on there for me. Yeah, sorry, they gave up Spencer Horwitz for
Yeah.
what?
No,
For what? Like again, what
the
is
Blue
that
Jays
move?
just question marks, brother. Straight. Great
What
move
is
for the
that?
Guardians. Great move for
Good
the
for them.
Guardians.
And then they
But
go out and flip Spencer Horwitz. If the Pirates or the Blue Jays flipped Spencer Horwitz for what the Guardians got back for him, question marks still everywhere, but sure. Like
but I
you
mean,
get Andres
we also
Jimenez, who's
missed
what,
Jose
18 million a
Barrios.
year? Oh
Jose
yeah.
Barrios. I mean, do you know what he's gonna bring? I don't think he'll ever be that one or an ace on any
He's
team. But
solid. He's a
even
solid man.
honestly, man, I don't really see him as a two either. But
He's a
if
solid. He's a solid big
he's
league
a solid
starter
big starter, man. He's not
who's
gonna
gonna
blow
have
you away with a lot
dominate
of things, but what he's gonna do and what's honestly very valuable to any ball club, he's gonna get
pitching.
outs. He's gonna get outs, man. And yes, exactly. He's gonna pitch innings and he's gonna get outs.
So
So, but I'm just looking at this lineup, man. It's just I don't even know. George Springer, Bo Bichette, Vlad, Will Wagner, Alejandro Kirk, Andres Jimenez, Ernie Clement, Nathan Lukes, and Loper Fito, who hopefully takes a step forward.
Oh, I
Who you
love Joey
got?
Lopez. I
Who
saw
you
an
got for
offseason.
Kikuchi?
I saw an offseason move of Joey Loperfido made some swing adjustments.
Yeah.
Boy, does it look smooth. I think he's going to have a good season.
I
Big,
mean, only
big
thing that I
Joey.
ask for my
Okay.
players, man, is I want to see those videos, man. I want to see that you love baseball, man. I don't want to see that you're only working during the season. But it's a really good sign for me. I hope Joey Loperfido, who honestly got kind of tossed to the wind by Houston, in my opinion. I don't think I would have traded for Kikuchi for giving up Loperfido, but
I mean, Kikuchi was good for Houston when he was there,
sure. I
though.
mean, I guess, man,
Congrats
first
to
round
him.
exit, but whatever. Yeah, it obviously didn't work out, and now you're out of a first baseman who you still desperately need. Well, not
They
anymore. You got
signed
Christian
Christian Walker.
Walker, but still, man. I mean, you need a first baseman bad, and you said
He could
Loperfido
play
like
corner outfield for them
Like
right now.
Gonzo's. You know what I mean? Like, oh well, later's. But yeah, man. Hopefully, Loperfido takes that step forward, and hopefully, he can hit behind these guys like George Springer, Bichette, and Vlad, and Alejandro Kirk, brother. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I guess he's cool, you know. But I
I'm
just
gonna give their offseason an F, just
yeah,
because
for
their
sure,
team's an
man.
F and their
It's just
future's an F.
it's hard to rate them too because it's just like you hear these reports. The Blue Jays are
Are
trying,
in
you
on
know what I
Shohei.
mean?
The Blue
Yeah,
Jays are in on
on
Soto. The
everybody,
Blue
bro.
Jays are in on everyone. It's
It's
just
just
like the
I know that
Giants.
they're trying, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
trying,
sure,
but
but
just
it
no
seems like they're
results to
just
go for
throwing
it, man.
money. They're
Yeah,
just
they're just
throwing
throwing
money
money
out.
at people, man. But if I'm a Blue Jays fan, it's just I really don't know how to feel. I have mixed emotions, man.
If I'm a
Just
Blue
I
Jays fan,
know
I'm sleeping through the next 5 years.
but I just at least I'm not sleeping bad because at least I know my ball club is at least trying to get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I'm picking an NL team to root for the next 5 years.
oh, for sure, man. Who's closest? Who's closest over there in Toronto? I don't know. The
The
Mets.
Mets.
Ew, gross.
Go be a yeah, be a Marlins fan.
Sure, man. Go out there and root for fuck Otto Lopez. You know what I mean? Go ahead, man. But whatever. Hopefully the Blue Jays turn around. I don't see it happening anytime soon. And like you said, I definitely predict a last place finish. And I'm gonna give their grade a D, man. I can't be that harsh, knowing that
They're
they're at least
trying.
trying, man. They're trying.
Yeah,
I can't
sure.
give you an F for trying. You know, at least that's what all our little league coaches used to say and our travel ball coaches used to say. At least you're trying, you know. But yeah, man.
I
I
think
think
that wraps up episode
yeah,
1, right?
that wraps it up. I mean, we're gonna go ahead and try to edit this podcast, make sure everything's gonna go good with it. So when we first present ourselves, it looks good. But welcome to Across the Diamond, man. Again, I'm
Welcome
ready
to
to
hopefully
yeah,
a historical episode 1
absolutely, man.
and something that we could do for a long time.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks
But
for tuning in, y'all.
catch us in on the next episode, man, where we go over the AL Central, starting with the Guardians, and then we'll follow up with the Twins and the Royals. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Peace.